Yeah, I can pretty much say the same thing. You know, I if I didn't have a faith in God, I would just be living completely for myself. I would be completely content with that. I'd probably go down some dark path. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to imagine like how bad it would get, but yeah, it would just be completely living for myself. And, yeah.
Yeah, and my FE is tertiary instead of inferior, so it works for me. It works a lot more reliably and consistently, but it does not it's not inexhaustible. It's really not inexhaustible, and I have an incredible capacity for not caring what other people think or how they feel if I perceive that their feelings are not rational. So, yeah, I would much rather tap into my FE. And there's another question. I think that Christianity in particular, not all faith systems, but I think Western faith systems kind of favor FE.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have the same feeling? I think Eastern faith systems tend to favor FI, being on your individual road of enlightenment. But I think Western faith systems tend to favor the communal aspect of FE. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah, I think, you know, like a lot of traditional denominations of Christianity and or actually especially Catholicism, I've often felt like as a whole was either like ESFJ or, you know, ESTJ or you know, Protestant traditional churches or more like, you know, ESFJ or ISFJ.
Mm.
And you know, and I don't think Christianity should be that way. I think you know, when it talks about the body of Christ, about how God gives, you know, each of us different gifts, and how like all the parts of the body work together. Well, we should be more, you know, as far as like personality types, we should be more diverse. And the thing I like about my church is like I figured out like I'm not okay. So I'm like in no way an expert on but I figured out like I tried to.
I'm sorry. My doorbell just rang and all hell's breaking loose. I'm gonna have to put on pause here for a second. I'll be right back.
All right.
No. Anyhow, right. Celebok, you were saying.
Yeah. So I'm like in no way like an expert on typing other people, but I do like I sometimes like to try to figure out other people's types, and I actually recently did that with some of the pastors at my church, and it turns out the diversity is like all across the board. Like you know, there is no like one type that dominates the pastoral staff, and I think that's how the church should be. You know, we should be like all kinds of different types working together, you know, as you know, to function as one body. And you know, like we were saying, like, you know, if a church, you know, has like an SJ feel, then you know, then that's lopsided. You know, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
And I think
oh, go ahead.
Oh no.
Yeah, my church is so small that it can't kind of help but be full of SJs and SPs.
Well,
but
they're prominent in society, just generally.
Exactly, it's just a statistical probability. Although now that our former, she was the pastor before we denominated. There we go. We left a denomination and
Denominated.
yes. And so she is now. She has the gift of mercy, like no man's business. She's an NF, INFP. I am quite certain of this, like hardcore poster child INFP, and her husband's an INTP. We haven't. They are more into non-traditional expressions of church community, so they have house church over at their house. like once a month or so, and then I lead the regular service that all of the SJs need. They want continuity, so I make sure that there's continuity. And if our body is filled with lots of SJ hands and SP hands, and they're great at doing things like the mitten tree and Salvation Army dinner. Actually, that's what the doorbell was. I made cornbread for the Salvation Army dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, and Habitat for Humanity builds and things like this. I'm the mouth. My job in the body is to stand up and talk, and that's what I bring to the table. Like I just honestly feel like I only have one gift. I only have one gift. This is the thing that I can do. I can show up and be me, and that's something that a lot of people find mysterious and enviable. But I am so horrible at anything else that everybody can do, like breathing. So it balances out. Anyway, so yeah, I agree. But even if the congregation is composed of SJs primarily, who are drawn to more traditional forms of whatnot, still there should be inclusion of the needs of other types. So I agree.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we all bring our different gifts to the table. Like I'm certainly not going to be a speaker, and you'll never find me like speaking in front of the congregation. But I serve as on the tech team, on the sound engineering team. So every other Sunday, I'm there setting up the sound system and running the monitor board, making sure the musicians, the worship team can hear themselves okay. So that's me using my skills, using my analytical TI, SE, being able to hear the sound properly, using my SE for that, my TI to analyze if something's going wrong, like how to fix it, how everything is wired. So those are my gifts.
Yep. All right, so is there anything else that you guys wanted to add to the discussion? Any other thoughts you've had, or things that you've contemplated before, or just kind of happened out of the blue that you wanted to add?
I was actually thinking, when you were talking earlier about the question of, is there an afterlife and what's it like, and that is a question that I suspect a lot of censors avoid. Because you can't picture it, like how are you supposed to picture what heaven is like? And you read, I think the Book of Revelation is like a censor's worst nightmare. I'm reading the thing; it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, actually, the Book of Revelation is kind of cool and also kind of frightening in the same sense that I mentioned before about the retribution or retributive theology. But I definitely get it, or I feel more in tune with it as an intuitive NT. I understand that. Yeah,
and you're trying to picture this creature with 7 heads and 10 horns, and I'm as a censor, I'm trying to literally picture this creature, and it's just like. It just
meant the Roman Empire. Yeah, they just meant the Roman Empire.
Divide 10 horns among 7 heads equally. Which do,
Yeah.
But and whenever somebody, whenever I face this question, what do you think, if I'm in a Bible study, someone asks, what do you think heaven is going to be like? I just say I don't even try to think about it because I don't think we can. I mean, maybe intuitives can, but for me, it's like, well, it's just so far beyond anything that I could possibly imagine. So it's like, well, don't even bother trying. I just accept that it's going to be something just really awesome beyond my comprehension.
Heaven to me seems like a censor's worst nightmare because you're just going to be sitting around thinking and not doing anything.
No, Intuitive's paradise. I can't wait to have nothing but eternity to think. Oh my freaking cow, this would be so awesome. No, actually, I think the common idea of heaven is very much informed by Catholic traditions and some early Christianity Mediterranean traditions that are actually not in the Bible. For example, halos and harps. There is the throne, and they're given the great multitude are given harps to sing at the inauguration of the rule of God. Is in Revelation. But fluffy clouds and wings. No one has wings except for the seraphim, who are just fire spirits. And there are no halos. And the idea that we're just going to sit or hang out in a house. Actually, what it says in the Bible is we spend eternity praising God. It just never ends. And Jesus also mentioned that the new bodies that we get are not like our current bodies. In fact, we will be genderless. So all kinds of things will be completely irrelevant. The things that we're concerned about now will become irrelevant then. If the afterlife turns out pretty much exactly as described in the New Testament.
And that sounds a lot less like free will.
Yeah, it does.
And the eternity praising God, it's like, how do you know what we're going to do? Or are we going to be programmed to do that? Evolve no choice.
I think the idea is that if you actually saw the true awesomeness of God, then it wouldn't matter. Like, it's not that he would command you to praise him. Like, there would be this moment of, your jaw drops, and like there's nothing else you can do because he's just that awesome.
I'm sure Satan was witness to how awesome he was as well. And
also true. Although also Satan, interestingly enough, started out as a court functionary in the heavenly court. And the name Satan just means accuser. So he was the prosecuting attorney in the heavenly court. His job was to accuse people of sin. He was not a tempter, and he was created by God for the purpose of accusing sinners.
So that also means that people are sinning even being unaware of God's presence. And so it makes me think, what if we get up there and, that's not the end of it. There's still more. There's like, well, that's just the beginning. And then we go up there and there's wars going to go on and everything still. And it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't even know for sure that I don't know what I believe. I have no. I'm currently agnostic on the afterlife issue, and that's another thing that, as you mentioned, there's no proof. There's no counterproof either. The only philosophical, truly hardcore TI tenable position is agnosticism. That is the only thing that you can say, I can't know, and that's true. That's the only thing you can absolutely lay down is you cannot know. You can only choose. And so I understand when people choose atheism or and not just not Christianity, but not theism, not faith. On the other hand, I really believe that atheism is as much a choice of faith as theism is. Instead of choosing to believe God, you've chosen to believe not God. And either way, it's a choice that you've made.
Well, there are things like when I did go to church when I was still living there, there would be times where, we'd bring friends from school to the church with us,
mm-hmm.
and my dad would explain how the church was in the car on the way there, and once we would get there, then the elder minister, we call everyone brother and sister so-and-so if they're in the church. So Brother Steve would get up and give the same message. Sometimes, some parts even word for word for what my dad said to the friend. And they're like, did you guys get together and this? And he's like, no, I was surprised as well as you were. And that's happened more than once. There have also been times where someone in the during service they'd just get up and they'd be like overcome with emotion and crying, and they'd walk over to someone and they'd have this really loud and like crying voice come out, and they were given a message to someone about something they had to work on, and it was really something where only that person could have known anyway, and it's meant to be like God was speaking through them, a message right then. And you see those things, and it's hard not to believe that there's something causing that. Like the person couldn't have done that on their own. So those kinds of things is like, I guess it's not hard proof, but it's proof of something else.
Right. And, you know, who knows what else happened beforehand. Maybe someone heard a rumor. Maybe somebody saw something intuitive. I mean, there are possibilities. There's always possibilities. But in the end, you choose to believe that a physical possibility that you don't know about, or an imphysical possibility that you don't really know about. That's, in the end, it's really just a choice, and I've explained why I've made my choice. Yeah.
Okay. Not right now. Oh, okay.
So are we about ready to wrap up, or do we have anything else we want to add to that? Okay, awesome. Well, I am very glad to have chatted with you, gentlemen, and our Personality Cafe first of a threefold conversation. It was fantastic talking with you, and hopefully we'll meet again soon.
Yeah, it was good. It was good talking to you.
Thanks. Yeah. Bye.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
No, my dog won't bite you, though she has the right to. Have to give her credit, because she knows I would have let it happen.